Carnival was a time when normal social views were deliberately turned upside down. The mission sought to do the same in order to shock the audience into repentance and true love of God. Preachers could flourish the church's ultimate trump card in the game of toppling human pretensions, death. Onofrio Sirocco S.J. used a particularly demoralizing version of this gambit. He would preface his sermon by calling out to ask whether various local notables were present, drawing on a list of the recently dead which he had discreetly obtained beforehand. When the response came that the people named were all dead, he had the perfect opening for reminding his audience of their human frailty and parading before them the terrors of hellfire. When addressing an elite audience, preachers might adroitly play up this deconstruction of the social order to emphasize the shockingly claustrophobic and non-deferential atmosphere of hell. Respectable folk would be herded together with their social inferiors in an eternal prison, pressed together, distilled in decaying and contagious humors, and touching mouth to mouth. As the impact of the missions grew, living local dignitaries willingly cooperated with such carnivalesque inversion. They were increasingly ready to humiliate themselves in the missionary carnival. For instance, forming groups known as the Slaves of the Virgin, loaded with chains and headed by a crucifix, or leading the Stracino devotion in which the penitent licked the ground in token of worthlessness. Such carnivalesque missions had an extraordinary impact across the social divides. The missioners were given adulation as fervent as that offered a modern pop star. They were regarded as living saints, and their converts lovingly preserved small relics of their visits, personal possessions, or clothes. The missionary clergy sought to leave an infrastructure in their wake, founding confraternities which would carry on their work in devotion to the Eucharist or the Blessed Virgin, but they returned repeatedly to stage missions in the same territory, anticipating the mechanism of religious revival that became such an integral part of British and American evangelical Protestantism during the 18th century, and which seems a recurrent feature of Western Christianity. The religious behavior of southern Italy was permanently molded in this pattern of processional drama and devotional exhibitionism. Further north, the pattern was more mixed. Jesuits and Capuchins carried the same aggressive missionary strategies to the frontiers of Protestantism. In Savoy, southern Germany, and France, Borromeo took a particular interest in promoting Catholicism in Switzerland, on which his archdiocese bordered, and he himself traveled widely through the mountains. He vigorously promoted the efforts of the Capuchins in the Swiss cantons, and there they, rather than the Jesuits, proved the main agents of promoting the Counter-Reformation in remote rural settings. In such circumstances where there were Protestants convinced not all Catholics engaged in mission felt that it was wise to flourish Eucharistic and Marian devotion as a badge of difference, or to hector religious opponents. The outstanding French missionaries Francois de Sales and Vincent de Paul exemplified a quieter style, eschewing drama and seeking to persuade in less confrontational ways. The difference in style within the Catholicism of the contested areas of Central Europe had wider implications, as we will discover.